that was one of my favorite things my grandmother always did. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Megan from the GWP Homestead, and today we're going to learn a new skill. I have canned a few things at this point. Not a lot, but I've canned a few things, especially over the summer. So today I'm going to try to can a recipe that I've done before, and it is some homemade barbecue sauce. It's my grandmother's recipe. I grew up eating it, and she always canned it, and until about 4 days ago, I never even thought about making a batch and canning it. When I've made it in the past, I just put it in the fridge. So today we're going to make a double we're going to do water bath can it. Let's get everything in my big blue pot to start simmering. In the past, when I've made this, I've actually saved these bottles. In the past when I made it, I saved these bottles and put the barbecue sauce back in the bottles. I would much rather it be canned and on the shelf because fridge space is precious. So, a bunch of ketchup, quite a bit of mustard, and if you've been around here for long, we buy generic. So, a lot of this is, everything is generic. To make sure we clean these bottles out, what I'll do here in a minute is put a little bit of vinegar in there and swish the vinegar around. 2 sticks of butter. $12 cups of sugar. 12 tablespoons of pepper. 12. Like I've said on other videos, I don't measure. I measure with my heart a lot. So even though those were using measuring cups, they weren't exact. It'll be fine. It all comes out in the wash with this. Now we need a gallon of vinegar. A little bit of vinegar into the ketchup bottle. Add a little more. It's going to be nice and clean. And now the rest of the vinegar. Now here comes the slow part of any barbecue sauce recipe. Now we wait. This needs to simmer for several hours, and I've got to bring it to temp first because I may have left the vinegar out in my car overnight and it got a little cold, but it'll be fine. This is going to sit on the stove. I am going to cover it so my lovely lab assistant doesn't try to stick his nose in it because he's been known to eat straight out of the pot. Welcome back. It's the next day because it always takes me 2 days to film these videos. My barbecue sauce is actually cooked long enough, but I did not put it in a big enough pot. So I'm going to transfer it to a bigger pot so I can put my water and flour mixture into it because that's going to help us thicken it because we want it to be a little thicker than what it is now. We're going to cross our fingers that I don't make a mess trying to transfer from one pot to another. I was just going to pour it, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to use a measuring cup. And that on top is just the butter. So that transfer could have been a lot worse. Before I add any flour or anything, we are going to let this come up and cook for a little bit and get nice and warm. So a minute ago, I was still having quite a few like lumps and bumps of the mustard and the ketchup. So I got the idea to use my submersion blender to break those up, and it worked perfectly. And it's going to come in handy here in a second too because we're going to add water and flour to help thicken this up a little bit. I'm I'm gonna let this cook for just a few minutes because it's getting thicker. When I've made this in the past, it's been way too thin and hard to cook on like pork chops and stuff, like on the grill. And that was one of my favorite things my grandmother always did with this barbecue sauce, was pork chops on the grill. And it will probably thicken up some also when I process it through the canner. There we go. Yay! We're gonna stick. My water bath canner needs to go to this front burner, and it will here in a minute. So right now, I just want to start heating this water a little bit. Because we're going to be putting hot sauce in the jars, I don't have to warm my jars up in the water. I can just put the hot sauce in there. I'm going to pull this off the stove here in a minute once I rearrange some stuff. And then we'll start putting this in quart jars. Yes, quart. Yes, we're going to use quart jars. Let me do some rearranging real quick. Exactly how many quarts my pressure canner holds. I think it'll hold 6, and I'm doing this backwards. I do that every time. I try to do this backwards. And I'm hoping I don't need to add any extra water to this, because you want the water about 1 inch above the lids. And when you're doing quarts, and since this isn't, it's a tall pot, but not super tall, it gets real full. Yeah, I can get one more in here. Okay. Last quart. With adding water to this, I did make sure it was hot water. Now, it's just sink tap, like coming out of my sink hot. This needs to come to a rolling boil, and it will take it a hot minute. And then when we will process these for 25 minutes. Once it's rolling boil, it's done that for 25 minutes. We'll turn this off, remove it from the heat, wait 10 minutes, and then we'll remove our jars. And because I did a double batch of barbecue sauce, we will do another 6 jars. And then whatever's left after that 6 jars, if I get a full 6, I will just put in a jar and put in the fridge and save it for later. So this will be a 2-run thing today. So now, once again, it's just a waiting game. And we're going to watch this and buzz around and do another 100 other household things. It's about to be very loud and very chaotic in my house because the older kids are now home from school. But, we have quarts of barbecue sauce. I've still got to do the other quarts, but I wanted to show y'all these. I also got it cleaned up soon for dinner, so yay. So the thing about canning in your own kitchen is it's just a constant day of cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. That's all there is to do, is clean. My father-in-law had a separate kitchen for where they would do, well, I guess my mother-in-law did the canning, but they had a separate kitchen where they would just do their canning. And I'm kind of jealous of that now because I have a ton of dishes to do before I can cook dinner. We do have 6 quarts of our barbecue sauce done, and they may have popped when they were in the water. So, yay! 6 quarts of barbecue sauce going on the shelf. And I think I have about 6 more to go. So I'm excited about that. in another video, maybe I'll show y'all using the barbecue sauce, because it's not gonna happen today because the loud things are home. That's all I got for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed learning a new skill with me, or working on learning new skills until I'm confident in them. Canning being something I need to gain some confidence in. But I'm Megan from the GW Homestead, and I'll see you on the next video, guys. Bye.